We're continuing with extending our idea of the mid-value, of the large mid-value. This is going to be a large dark mid-value, and we're developing the scene that we developed in a grayscale to depict light on the peaks, and starting with a little bit of the underpainting for the peaks themselves, and quickly, once we get that shape established, start to work in that dark mid-value using burnt sienna, a little bit of alizarin crimson, and a little bit of ultramarine blue, mixing them on the paper. And what I'm endeavoring to do is use them at a dark strength. So as I'm mixing the colors, I'm conscious of the consistency. I want each of these colors to have a strength to it, and I'm trying to achieve this dark mid-value. So the mid-value for the midground and foreground is established, and I want to extend that upwards a little bit into the peaks. I'm stopping short of the tops of the peaks because I want those to have a feeling of sunlight hitting the peak. So I'm adding that strong mid-value, especially to the peaks which are a little nearer to us, and carrying them up the peaks into the foothills towards the peaks. The next wash is going to deepen the sky. Put a little bit of yellow ochre and alizarin crimson into the sky to yellow ochre and that ultramarine blue, I'm sorry, to make the reddish color stand out a little more on the peaks. And later on we'll adjust the value to the water. A lot of ultramarine blue here. This is going to calm down this whole midground and foreground area so that more of our attention is moving towards those peaks. I feel the value needs to be adjusted. Even though I was quite strong with the colors in the beginning, I felt the result was it dried a little lighter than I expected, so I'm adjusting it. I'm putting a wash of ultramarine blue and a little bit of neutral tint over most of the midground and foreground. The second one is going to be focusing on what might be a sunrise, where we see a dawn sky with bright clouds as the sun fades away, and the landscape itself is in shadow. Once again, I'm starting with the peaks using ultramarine blue here, about medium strength, getting that profile as best I can. The shape is not that great, but it'll serve for this exercise. As I'm bringing down the ultramarine blue, which is nearly full strength, I'm adding some yellow ochre to it and getting a feeling of just a slight change in the blue, a yellowing or a greening for the foliage that comes down the land towards the water. Yellow ochre, ultramarine blue, and in the foreground I'm creating these trees with more of the ultramarine blue and a bit of neutral tint, a little bit of burnt sienna and yellow ochre as well. And I've got the light and dark pattern as I see it. It's a strong mid-value for most of the painting. And I'm creating that graded wash in the sky. And while it's wet, I'm going to be introducing some alizarin crimson into clouds, and on top of that a little bit of the ultramarine blue just to calm it down. But I want to get that glowing sensation that we see in the morning sky, the glowing pink clouds, the underside of the clouds. And basically the same tonality as the background and even parts of the midground. So very much a a strong mid-tone through the painting. And after doing the water, this painting is nearly finished.